Every summer, there comes a point with the gardens where I feel like we are being overrun, both by the weeds that manage to pop through the mulch and by everything coming on all at once. Tomatoes, cucumbers, green beans, about the only thing that doesn't feel like it's ready immediately and all at once are the parsnips. Here I am walking down a row of my shelling beans. It's a beautiful, plentiful time of year. I wish this would last for longer, and then when it does end, I'm usually also a little bit happy because it's a lot of work. So welcome to my garden tour. I find the better gardener I become, actually the less time I spend in my gardens. The weeds become more and more suppressed as time goes on, as I continue to protect my garden, try to not let weeds go to seed, and as I use mulch. This year we had a lot of top-heavy crops, so carrots, potatoes, beets, beans. A lot of these things will actually shade your soil from the sun, and so you usually get very, very few weeds. Here I am grabbing some delicious carrots for supper. I'll grab some potatoes. Often you will find me popping out into the garden just off our little cottage, and I will grab onions or whatever we need for meal times. Now, in this time of this video recording, our onions are actually coming ready, and I have a whole video tutorial for you where you can go, and I have everything you need to know about harvesting and curing and all that. But here I am pulling some of our winter storage onions. The tops were flopped over, and that is a sure sign that they are done. You don't want them to rot in the ground, so it's time to pull these ones out, and I will go spread them out to dry. And then we also actually have a bunch of garlic. I was way late in getting my garlic out of the ground this year as well. We were on vacation for most of July. I was gone between treatments and visiting family. So I did not get my garlic up when I ordinarily would. But with garlic, I also have a tutorial for that, but you can tell it's ready when the bottom 3 or 4 leaves start to dry out. You want to get your garlic pulled up, get it drying and curing for storage so that it will last well into the winter. Here in my northern climate, I grow 2 hardneck varieties. One's a chestnut red and the other is a Russian red. And I often will take these and spread them out with my onions around back at our woodshed, and they will dry here evenly spread out. Again, I have a tutorial on both curing onions and garlic for winter storage, so I'll put that down in the description below so you can go and grab it. I love this time of year. I love the harvest coming in. I love that I get to feed my family with food that I have grown by myself. Such a wonderful feeling, and I'm grateful for my gardens this year. In the kitchen, I have been working to collect, scrub, and clean up beautiful used items. So if you haven't heard, I've decided to open an Etsy shop, or it might not be Etsy. We'll start there. We'll see if I can go independent after a while. But an Etsy shop where I will be selling items I've collected. Often people will see what I have and ask me, where did you get it? And because I thrift most things, I often don't have a resource for you. But now I will be collecting and gathering items that I know that you would love to have in your house. This giant tea kettle is perfect for a wood stove. Unlike cast iron, it doesn't rust, and it would make the perfect humidifier for a living room where you are burning wood heat. So that will soon be listed in the shop as soon as I get it up and going. I'm very excited to be able to offer this to my followers and to my readers. Next on my list is I want to make some fermented turnip. Now this is something, turnips, I love them fresh, but I don't love them cooked. But a couple years ago, I was going through an old cookbook and preserving book that I believe a sister-in-law had grabbed for me because I love anything like that. And in it was a recipe for fermented grated turnip. So, depending on your variety, the skins can be quite spicy. So, often I will peel the turnips if you don't want the extra zing and spice. Here, these are quite old. Some of these actually have gone to the worms, but I am going to bring them into my kitchen and put them to use before they get too tough and woody to eat. So, baby girl and I are going to head in and we are going to whip up some delicious fermented turnip with dill. Something I've been doing this summer, which has helped cut down so much on the mess inside, is to wash up my turnips or root vegetables, potatoes outside before bringing them in. And then I will scrub them at the kitchen sink again to clean them really, really well, but it has helped cut back on the mess so much. Gardening and homegrown produce is messy. A lot of people don't realize that, but it can really bring in the dirt. So pre-washing them outside has been something I have enjoyed doing this summer. Here's a whole bunch of flaky white grated turnip. We're going to do about a gallon of this. So I have 2 half-gallon jars that I will fill, and turnips are very, very juicy. To ferment them, you want to hang on to that juice. So the recipe is on the blog. I'll put it down in the description box below, but we sprinkle it with salt. We'll mix it in and add our dill. I love dill combined with turnip. I think it's so tasty, whether you use fresh dill or dill seed. It brings a really nice flavor to an otherwise fairly plain fermented dish. The proper amounts of salt are over on the blog, like I said. I will link that down below so you can get the exact recipe. Here I'm just chopping in some dill heads that have not yet gone to seed. We'll mix it all in, and then I stuff it directly into jars after my salt has been incorporated. Some people like to let it sit for an hour or two, cover the bowl with a cloth, but I just don't have time for that, so I will pack it straight into jars. Make sure we get some of the juices in each jar, and this will be left to ferment at the back of my kitchen counter for 6 to 7 days is about all it needs, and then it can go straight in the fridge. I like to use a wooden pestle to pound it down, and we will add the extra juices to cover the turnip, and this will be a really tasty treat this summer. I like to pop canning lids into place. I let them ferment just like that, and when they are done, they will sit in the refrigerator and they will hold their own for a long, long time in there. All right, folks, thanks so much for stopping by. I'll see you next time.